Right then, so here's Traktor open. So what are we looking at? We've got a lot of stuff going on this page and we need to figure out how we're going to use it. So let's start at the very top and in this middle section. In this section we have a master volume and a wet and dry mix for kind of headphone territory, but we are not going to be dealing with this section here. I apologise for any lag between my mouse and my talking, but I'm having to run my computer a little bit more slowly just to be able to cope with all of the things that are going on, so it's quite tough for my computer, this little project. Okay, in the next section we have got some highs, mids and lows and two sets, and what is happening here is that we've got a set down this side which belongs to this section of the screen, and we've got a set down this side which belongs to this section of the screen. And what this represents is two record players, which is kind of the original type of DJing. Original DJing was two record players either side with a mixer in the middle. So that represents, so this whole section here represents the mixer and the two record players. So this is record player 1 represented by the A. This is mixer 2, which is represented by a B. And what we've got is a high, mid and low frequency, which is just a graphic equalizer for B, and we got a graphic equalizer for A. We have got a fader for A, so that is just simply a volume control for A and a volume control for B. We have got a gain for B and a gain for A, and that just means a little bit more volume. It's not the master volume, it's an additional volume for each individual side. So if a track on A is a little bit quieter, we can push the gain up. If a track on B is a little bit quieter, we can push the gain up. But we have to be conscious of the master volume, and I'll show you a little bit later, but up here this little bar is the overall volume, and if you see little red tweaks right at the end, that means that you are distorting, you're pushing too much volume out, and you're going to have to pull a gain back, or you're going to have to pull the master volume back a little bit just to prevent the red dots. Anything else is fine, but red dots is bad. And that goes for all the different types of software that you might be using. If you see any of the levels hitting the red, then you want to just pull it back a bit, because if you're recording it and you come to play it, it may sound great in the headphones, it may sound great on the speakers, but when you put it onto CD and try to play it to your friends, that red dot will mean that it will just sound a little bit bad. It'll sound a bit crunchy and a bit not so good. So avoid the red dots. So down in this section here we have a crossfader, and a crossfader represents the sound that's being played. So in the middle you get both A and B equal volume. Pull the crossfader to the A side and you get full A side sound and no B side sound. Pull the crossfader across, likewise you get full B sound, no A sound, and the fader anywhere in between either side will just mean a little bit of sound coming through, from a minute to almost full, but that could be critical in the type of mix that you're doing. So that's an important part of the DJ element, the crossfader. Down the bottom here we have a track list. These are the tunes that you are using that you can pop into A or pop into B depending on which side you're going to set up the mix for next. And in these top two corners you've got a 1 and a 2. These are effects panels and they affect the sound. They don't do anything other than that. They don't make sound, they just create effects on top of sounds. So we will come to those a little bit later, but first of all we will look at this area here and we will look at this area here, which are essentially finding the music that you want to play. Now, over here on my desktop, I've got my folder called DJ Tunes. If I open that folder, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 tunes in here, all quite different. When I write my music, I put the BPM behind the track. So I kind of, I didn't there and I didn't there. But in this case, I've written the BPMs in. So if I just listen to a track, we can kind of get an idea of what's in the folder. So let's just have a quick listen to what's in there. So that is a very, very different selection of music, and goodness only knows how I'm going to DJ it, but Traktor is going to help me out in that. So let's close that folder. Now, you could drag your music onto this computer or onto your computer and DJ from that, or you can use an external hard drive. So that could be anything from an MP3 player plugged in via USB. It could be a mobile phone if it's got the capabilities of plugging in via USB. So up here where it says backup, I've got an external hard drive which is plugged into this computer, and on an Apple Macintosh, which this is, it comes up on the desktop. On a PC, if I remember rightly, you go down to the start menu and you go to my computer, and you can then see the hard drive from there. So if I click on the hard drive, I've also got one piece of music in there which I can play as well. So I've got music from various different sources. So how do I use Traktor to get that music into the A track and the B track? Right. Okay, so that will be the next tutorial.